everybody, welcome to episode 2 of CAT RC series. We are going to talk a lot about tones. Tones क्या है ये आपको अच्छे से मालूम है. Sometimes what happens is the question asks you, what is the overall tone of the author? What is the tone of the author regarding that particular point? So tones can be of two types. It can be either a specific tone, which becomes very easy. Otherwise, it can be overall tone. So when we talk about overall tone, what do we need to do? In an RC passage, we need to check the overall tone from the last few lines of the passage. That would be like about 4 to 5 lines. Even after that, if you're confused, you need to go back to the first paragraph and start skimming, look for adjectives and adverbs. You will easily get a hang of the tone. You need to understand some different types of tones as well. For that, you need to check my RC basics course from February 2021, Jan or Feb, something it was. And in that, I had given you given an exhaustive list of tones. So you need to just go there, check those tones, and some tones are extreme. Abhi, when we start doing the questions, I'll show you all along the way. I'll discuss and I'll tell you which tones are extreme, which means what. So probably you'll get a good hang of tones by the time we finish the questions. I think there are 8 or 9 questions. Okay, let's get started. First, the announcements. Campus placements, IT jobs. This is another segment of Unacademy, and in this, the students are groomed and taught how to become placement ready. Iconic subscription, which is one-on-one mentorship, and these are the rates. Plus subscription, of course, the rates are real value for money. And MBA 2021 mock test marathon. This is CAT Combat, which is coming up. So 250 winners, 250 lucky winners are going to get prizes. Please participate in this. Registration is absolutely free. I'm going to start with some very easy level questions. That's kind of warm up, you know. And as we progress, then I'm going to pick up like level. We are going to pick up speed. And then by the time we end, you will have understood what tones look like. Okay, so question number 1. How would you characterize the tone of the following sentence? What is the sentence? I won the game fair and square. And I'll fight anyone who says differently. कोई करके तो देखे, कोई बोल के तो देखे कि मैंने fairly नहीं जीता, मैंने बेईमानी की है. I'll fight tooth and nail. Yeah, I'll fight anyone. What is the tone? Delighted, you know the meaning. Angry, bored, deceitful. अब bored तो नहीं है. Bored होता तो उसका तो कुछ और ही language होता, right? Deceitful, he's not cheating. He's saying, I'll fight anybody who says that I'm cheating. So bored and deceitful are out. You decide what the answer is. Yes, the answer is indeed B, angry. You can say defiant. You can say indignant. Okay, so angry, defiant, indignant means he's kind of being a little defensive. Koi bol ke to dekhe types wala. Okay, so that's the tone over here. Next, what kind of tone would you most likely find in a newspaper editorial that endorses a political candidate? कैसा होगा वो editorial? पढ़ते तो हैं आप editorials, मेरे साथ आप YT में वो भी करते हैं, The Guardian and the NYT, right? So if a newspaper editorial is talking about a political candidate and endorses that political candidate, endorses itself means supports. So supporting में कैसे words होंगे? It's not very hard for us to imagine. Okay, हिंदू उठा के देखिए editorials में. There are different writers in those editorial columns who believe in different candidates, who support different candidates. So उसमें आपको पता चल जाएगा exactly what it is. Gloom and despair? नहीं, तुम बेकार हो, तुम खराब हो. ऐसा मतलब बहुत कम ही वैसा होता है. Gloom and despair नहीं होता है. ठीक है? When you're endorsing somebody. Optimism and enthusiasm? Sarcasm and anger? Fear and loathing? Obviously, if you know the meaning of the word endorses, you will easily get the answer. The answer is definitely B, optimism and enthu. Right? Very easy questions. Okay, I'll up the level. Don't worry. The tone of the following sentence. Here we go again. He moaned. Oh no. Here we go again. This is called moaning. Oh no, not again. As he watched the other team score yet another goal. So he's probably supporting this team. And he watched the other team score yet another goal. Goal pe goal kar rahe hain. Yet another ka matlab goal pe goal. Right? So he said, no, not again. What is the tone? Joy? Definitely not. Fury? Ghussa? Nahi, definitely not. Excitement or frustration? Obviously, it is frustration. Perfect. All right. So far, so good. You guys are with me? Great. Next. Nothing will happen before the end of the month. Now, no need to read the passage word for word if you are trying to come up with the, tone. Just go down to the last 2-3 lines. Pehle, you start with the first line. You try to see what it is about. Nothing will happen before the end of the month, but the SPD might well jump if, say, a large state that votes on October 28th delivers a similar verdict. What are they talking about? Let's skim. New election, Mrs. Merkel, little of note has been heard from her, European something, even if something happens, it's not going to happen. Okay, something, fine, understood. This is how we skim. Go down to the last 3 lines. Okay. A chance to raise her profile before taking over as chancellor in good time for the next election, but the change of tone. It seems unlikely to make much difference to the CDU's fortunes. Modern Germans have an understandable aversion ka meaning pata hona chahiye, dislike to charismatic leaders, but Mrs. Kramp will test even them. So when we read these last 2-3 lines and then go over to the options, we see that the first one says unbiased analysis. Okay, unbiased, all right, analysis. Okay, we'll keep this. Second one, polite cynicism. Now, cynicism is an extreme tone. If you see that among the options, you can see it safely eliminated. Okay, subtle pessimism. Pessimism is when you say, aisa nahi hoga, lag to nahi raha hai ki aisa hoga. So if we check the last 4 lines, kind of, yes. And not being very openly pessimistic, but being subtly pessimistic, right? So we'll retain option 3. So we have option 1 and option 3. Option 4, excessive denial. Excessive denial mein kyun jayenge? Like excessive denial means you are trying to be defiant. Nahi hai, nahi hai, nahi hai, nahi hai. No, this is definitely wrong. And that kind of borders on extreme. Option 4 is out. So it's between 1 and 3. Unbiased analysis or subtle pessimism. Once again, go back to the last lines. Unlikely to make much difference. Kuch nahi hone wala hai. They've got an understandable aversion to charismatic leaders. Blah, blah, blah. Obviously, the answer is subtle pessimism. Alright, perfect. Ye thoda high level ka tha. Let's watch the next one. Yes, the answer is 3. Alright, so what is this? This paragraph is talking about literature, not just talking classic literature. Colin Dexter, okay, so they are talking about the plot of this Colin Dexter thing. Okay? Decides to kill off his recurrent detective Morse in The Remorseful Day. Inverted mein hai The Remorseful Day, so probably that's the name of a book. Chief Inspector is a genius. Oh, okay, understood. This paragraph is talking about the plot, about the characters of this particular book, The Remorseful Day, which is part of classic literature. Fine. And then what's there in the last 3 lines, 2 or 3 lines? So when the time comes for him to collapse amid the spires, Dexter gives him a heart attack. Why? That's not all. There's another paragraph to that. So when we are checking for the tone, we just read the first 2 lines, we skimmed, and then we are going to come down to the last bit. So check the last bit. But with a heart attack, the connection to an over fondness for drink is still there, if that's what some readers want to see. But now the ailment points not towards his behavior, but towards the pain and suffering, loneliness, regret, sad sack love life that may be causing the behavior. So he finally funnels it down to this, that these are the things that are causing the behavior. Now let's go down to the tone. All right. The tone says, the options say speculative and indecisive. Is the author being indecisive? I think he has given a conclusion that, okay, these may be the things that are causing this behavior, right? That may be causing. So he's not being indecisive for sure. Speculative, thinking about something for the future, predicting, prognosticating. He's not doing that, right? Second one, analytical and critical. Analytical is evaluative. You kind of do the comparison between 2 things, or maybe you do the comparison between the pros and cons of a certain thing. Critical, is he criticizing anybody over there? Third one says objective and profound. Ah, that looks nice. I'll keep this. And the fourth one is unbiased and explanatory. So I'm left with 2 options, guys and girls. Objective and profound, that's option 3, and unbiased and explanatory. What exactly do you see profound over there? I don't see anything profound. Profound is like a little philosophical. When we feel happiness, it is not actually happiness, it is actually the sadness coming out from our hearts. And this, look into your heart, introspect, you will find this. So somehow that is like a little profound. Here he has just given you the plot, he has given his opinion. He first gave the plot, he first told you about the characters, and then he gives his opinion that with a heart attack and whatever, these may be the reasons that are causing the behavior. So that is nothing profound, that's kind of matter of fact. That's kind of stating something. All right, so profound I wouldn't go with, but definitely 4 says unbiased and explanatory. This is explanation, so I would go with that. And unbiased is when he's not being subjective. He first analyzed the facts in the first paragraph, as we saw here. He took the facts, he analyzed this part, then he asks a question why, and then he goes over and he starts analyzing this, and he starts giving you the explanation for that. So the answer is definitely unbiased and explanatory. I hope you guys understood. Answer is 4. Okay, good. Question 6. Putting whiteness under inspection shows how powerful race is. So this paragraph is talking something about race. All right, and we can connect very easily with what racism is. Then go down, skim a little. Eligibility for citizenship painted as whiteness. Go down to the last 3 lines. Groups such as Germans, Irish, Italians, and Jews were popularly defined as non-citizens and non-white when they first arrived, and then became white. What we see as white today is not the same as it was 100 years ago. Okay? So before I go to the options, positive, negative, or neutral? He's not praising anybody, so not positive. He's not criticizing anybody, so not negative. Maybe neutral. Neutral, make kya, with specific tone. Vitriolic, the first option, that is an extreme tone. Out. So maybe you can make a list of the extreme tones, like we came across cynicism. That is an extreme tone. Cynical. Fine. So vitriolic is an extreme tone. Second, we have empathetic. He's trying to put himself in somebody else's shoes and trying to understand the problem. Is it over there? I didn't see him being empathetic, right? Okay, so that's not there. Third one, curious. Okay, I'm left with the third and the fourth one. Curious, inquisitive, and the fourth one is evaluative. Evaluative is kind of analytical. He comes up with the data and then he kind of gives all the information. Then he says, okay, so after this we can see that now what we see now as white is not the same as it was 100 years ago. So he's actually evaluating things, analyzing things. So the answer is indeed option 4. Okay, so far so good. Moving on to question, answer was 4, right? Question 7. In my clinic, I regularly encounter clients who seem trapped in a chain of negative emotions. Clinic, negative emotions, probably I'm a psychiatrist, right? For example, if someone feels unreasonably frustrated, philosophical type ka lag raha hai, psychological, go down, skim. Then go down to the last bit. The secret is to chain and spiral positive emotions of confidence, self-worth and joy, and in that process help the client to release and ultimately to collapse the negative emotional feelings. Acupuncture, he was talking about acupuncture all along probably. Acupuncture can be very helpful in achieving our goal. He first explained the process, whatever we need to pull out the negative feelings and pump in positive feelings and whatever. And then he says acupuncture can be very helpful in this particular aspect. When it is supported by Chinese physical exercise and mind techniques, the results can be astounding. The results can be unmatched. Ending, oh good, he's talking something positive about something, that is acupuncture, right? Now, options, acerbic. Once again, acerbic is an extreme tone. So we got cynical, vitriolic, acerbic. These are extreme tones, they can be eliminated. Next, exuberant. Positive बात तो की इसने, रख लेती हूँ इसको. All right. Next, explanatory. He is explaining, right? I'll retain this. Option D, argumentative. Is he arguing with anybody? No, he's not. So please, out you go. I'm left with 2 options, exuberant and explanatory. Now, exuberant means overly happy, overjoyed, kind of, oh yeah, this, that, enthu, full of enthu. That is exuberant. Exhilarated. ऐसा नहीं है. उसकी अपनी दुकान Chinese physical की he's trying to promote, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है. Right? So here he's maybe a little positive over there. He's sounding positive. He's kind of praising the Chinese medicine and Chinese exercises ka combination, but he definitely is not exuberant. So we will eliminate that and we are left with explanatory. He is explaining the entire thing and then saying this is what will help. Got it? Perfect. Answer 3, yes. Question 8. I think this is the last question. These many questions are quite good to give you an insight into the tones thing, right? Asia's rise is unstoppable. Asia, okay. Asia's recent track record might seem to guarantee its economic superpower status, okay, and then they come up with Goldman Sachs, data, information, the passage is becoming objective, move down. Go down to the last 2-3 lines. Aging is a principal cause of Japan's stagnation. China's elderly population, okay. India is a lone exception, okay. So in the last 3 lines, they are comparing China, Japan, India. All right. The next page. This is the last paragraph. So we started with the line, Asia's rise is unstoppable. And then we go down to the last 3-4 lines to see what exactly does he come down to. I'll read from there. The current economic crisis, moreover, will lead to huge overcapacity as Western demand evaporates. Asian companies facing anemic consumer demand at home. Anemic comes from anemia. Oh, right. So facing anemic consumer demand at home will not be able to sell their products in the region. Oh, some more roadblocks. The Asian export dependent model of development will either disappear or cease to be a viable engine of growth. आला ये क्या हुआ? Start तो उसने positive से किया था, end इस पे किया. What will my tone be? You have to go with the last 4 lines if you are looking for the overall tone. So in this case, it was positive in the beginning. He starts with a positive line, but he ends on a slightly different tone. Let's go down to the options. Great fascination. Whoa, whoa, whoa. No. Strong skepticism. I'll retain that. Skepticism means doubt. You are totally doubtful about something. C, pointed criticism. Okay. So criticism and that too pointed. I'll retain this. 4th, guarded appreciation. Appreciation to definitely nahi hai. So I'm left with these 2 options, strong skepticism and pointed criticism. Well. इन दोनों में आप struggle करिए थोड़ा सा, decide करिए इन दोनों में कौन सा हो सकता है, because these are very close. Strong skepticism या pointed criticism. I'll show you the answer. Yes, skepticism. Why not criticism? देखो, एक तो क्रिटिसिज्म आप लोगों को समझना, क्रिटिसिज्म इज लाइक बुराई समथिंग, ठीक है, एंड देन पॉइंटेड क्रिटिसिज्म बिकम्स एक्सट्रीमली हार्श. So what happens is, in this case, he's just being skeptical. He's apprehensive. He's not very sure that this, what they are projecting, is going to happen. It's not likely to happen. This is what he's saying. So definitely between pointed criticism, which is like Asia has done this, Asia has done that, that's why it's reaping what it had sown, and that's why it's going down the drain, blah, blah, blah. That is pointed criticism. So over here, definitely the answer was B. That brings me to the end of this specialized session. Tones. पिछले एपिसोड में मैंने कहा था RC चलता है 3 चीज़ों पे, इंटरप्रिटेशन, एंड दैट वाज राइट. बट देन सपोर्ट मिलता है एक और चीज़ से, एंड दैट इज टोन्स. इवन while you're reading the passage, while you're trying to take out summary, while you're trying to take out the inference or some other stuff over there, be very watchful of tones. Many of us don't realize the importance of tones, but please try to drill it into your heads that tones are extremely important. So those of you who have not seen my tones session, wo Jan wala tha, 2021 Jan, I had done my basics of RC, and in that I had given you an entire list of tones. I wouldn't say entire actually, because tones are unlimited, but I had given you the most common ones. Go back to that course and check it out. And please do well in the exam. Signing out with loads of love. Thank you.